Hey everyone, it's Destiny and welcome back to the channel. I'm trying something a little new with my makeup and wearing a darker lip, so I feel a little bit like I'm wearing clown makeup, but life's too short, we gotta experiment a little bit. Today I'm gonna take you through the end-to-end process of making my very first floor-length gown. I'm filming this intro after I've already completed the project, so I don't wanna give too much away, but I've truly learned so much through this process. But yeah, I don't wanna ramble too much, so let's just get straight into the video. Hopefully you can hear me over all the background noise. I wanted to quickly go over my pre-planning and my sketch that I did. Typically what I do is take a photo of the fabric that I'm working with and then I manipulate it onto the dress form in Procreate. This time around I thought it would be a lot faster and easier to just sketch it out. So that's what you're looking at here. Please excuse my artistic capabilities when it comes to drawing. I am not the greatest illustrator. I want to do a full-length dress, which is something I've never done before. I wanted to make sure I went with a silhouette that is simple enough for me to get done while looking really elegant and accomplishing the aesthetic that I can envision. I decided to break it up into multiple pieces rather than try to make this one long piece. So I have my skirt piece here that's gonna go right across this lower waist, and then I'm gonna have my bodice piece right here, which is gonna be one piece of fabric that I'm gonna pin to hopefully hug the body very well. Then I have the bralette area, and you can kind of see here I wanted to really scoop around the bust and then have a little bit of cinching down the center. I have some thicker straps so that way I can wear a bra with this. This is going to be a little bit more of a triangular cap sleeve. It is going to be a little bit more cinched here at the bottom. I do plan on making the cinching match what I'm going for here. And then I also want to add a side zipper somewhere along here. The fabric that I'm working with is pretty stretchy. We're going to see how that goes. Then we have the back side. Very similar to what I'm going to do on the front. Continuation of the two-piece assembly where I have the skirt and the bodice. I am gonna add a slit to the back, a more easier way to move around. I notice when I have dresses that don't have a slit, it's very hard to walk, particularly in heels. I don't know how long I want the slit to be. I've contemplated between going up somewhere like knee length. Everything is a we'll see until we get there. I'm very excited about this, so let's go ahead and get into the project itself. So here's a brief look at the material I'm working with. I have quite a bit of this, as you can see. I have a full roll, so the possibilities are truly endless. This fabric is a little sheer, and I'm worried that when I actually put it on my body, I don't want to see too much. So I'm probably just gonna double up the layers. And this side, which would be against the skin, is super silky and really comfortable. We're already starting to pivot a little bit with this project, and I haven't even gotten started. This is the zipper that I found in my hoard. It's the length that I want it to be. Honestly, it's a little bit too long, but this is the only black zipper I have of significant length that could work for this. I don't really like that it's not an invisible zipper. You can see here the teeth for it are rather large, and I just feel like it would ruin the aesthetic that I'm going for. So I have been stretching and testing this fabric to make sure that my new pivot could work, where I don't have a zipper at all and it's just a dress that I pull on. Yeah, we're gonna see how that works later on down the road. I might just order a zipper, although I'm really hesitant to do so. I always mention this in a majority of my videos. My sewing materials have been given to me all by my grandmother. There's like novelty for me to only use what I have and what she gives me rather than me going out of my way and purchasing anything, which I'm not against. All of it goes towards the same end goal of completing this beautiful dress, but I just find it so much more sentimental when I use everything that my grandmother has given me. We shall see what I end up doing. Maybe I do buttons or a tie closure, I don't know. I'm going to briefly explain what's going on here. I didn't film a time lapse of me outlining my bias tape, my ribbon bias tape on my dress form, just because I was really playing around with what silhouette I was going for. This line down here, if you remember from my last video with the mini skirt project, I did not end up using this as my reference point for the last project, but I really did like where this hit on the body, so I kept this line. This line down the center is really just to identify the center point on this dress form. Moving up to the top portion, I went ahead and marked where I want my line lines to be. This is going to be where I start this mid section here. So it's going to come out just about 1.5 inches, and then we're going to go down and around this line all the way to the other side where we did the same thing. Don't have a set pattern that I'm going to be doing for this project. I will be creating a pattern on my tracing paper just to make sure that I get the right measurements for this, so that way when I scrunch it down the middle, one side doesn't look more bunched up than the other, and that I have enough room to attach this section to the rest of the bodice. And then we have this line here that is already on the dress form that I'm going to use as my side seam. This is my back. I may have to play around with this line a little bit more. This line down here looks so funny. It kind of looks like my dress form's wearing a thong. It's for visual center, okay? I promise. Hopefully you can hear me over the background noise once again. I've cut my pattern. I'm playing around, laying it around, and I'm visualizing what the assembly process is going to look like. So you can see here, this is going to be my back piece, front piece, and bra. I am going to be working with 2 layers. What I'm going to do is stitch along the borders and then turn it inside out and then assemble it from there. One more pivot. I am a little bit on a timeline crunch with this piece, so I'm hoping to get it done as soon as possible. With that said, I don't think I'm going to have time to build a prototype, so I'm just going to go right for it. Regardless, I'll be able to tailor it the way I need to. I did leave a little bit of extra room on the sides, and as you can see here, I left it more of a rectangular shape, so that way when I do get it on my dress form, I can pin it and give it more of a curve to accentuate the waist. I just want to make sure that I give myself enough space to do so. So let's go ahead and cut. Oh my god, our first pieces. I'm really nervous about this one, just because this feels like a more polished piece that I want to put together. Let's go ahead and get to cutting my fabric. My pieces have been traced and cut. You can see here I'm doubling up my fabric. Maybe it adds just a little bit more gold sheen underneath. I'm just obsessed with this fabric. It's so pretty. Anyways, you can see that my cuts are a little bit more on the boxy side, and that is because I'm not going to be adding a zipper or any form of closure, so it doesn't stretch vertically. So I have to make sure that my fabric is laid out where the tension is pulling on the fabric. You can see here this is a little bit tighter versus this way I get a lot more stretch. If I just make it fitted enough where it accentuates the body but not super tight where I'm pulling way too hard on the seams, then I'll be able to just slip it on. I'm also going to be stitching this together, and then I'm going to add it to my dress form, and then I'll be able to create more curves within this shape on the top here. Hopefully this comes out perfectly the first go around and my measurements are accurate. I don't want to be all peaches and cream about it. One concern I do have is that this top piece is going to be a little too short. I wanted it to have a little bit more of a drop waist. I took my measurement on my torso. Maybe it's just me being in denial that I have a shorter torso. Worst case, I will work with it. And now my next step is going to be stitching the 2 layers together. I'm going to leave this bottom portion open, and then same around this one, same around these back pieces. I got a little ahead of myself, but to catch you guys up, I went ahead and stitched my layers together. So now these are all doubled up, and I just went ahead and started pinning the edges together. These are going to be my side seams until I get it on my dress form, and I can start morphing the shape a little bit so that way I can have a nice curve and it'll fit nicely and not boxy like how it's looking right now. I'm probably going to stitch that down first, and then I'll go ahead and get this attached here. I'm going back and forth currently whether or not I'm going to add the scrunch here in the middle like I have illustrated in my original design. I'm noticing this is a little bit smaller than I anticipated. I'll see if that's something I'm going to do or just leave it as is. Worst case, I can definitely recut this and just make it a little bit bigger, but I'm a little worried that I might then have to adjust this as well, which is not something I really want to do, and recut this whole front portion. Alright, I got my sides all pinned up. Everything aligns perfectly. I'm realizing with this fabric, it's going to be kind of hard to go directly to my sewing machine and stitch this down. I don't think it really needs it because I am going to be ultimately adjusting the way this fits, and rather than using up thread from there, I'd rather just use temporary stitch that I can then rip out and not use nearly as much thread, number one, and number two, I can clearly see the original outline of the fabric, and then I'll be able to see quickly where I'm going to take it in. The dress is looking a little interesting right now. You can see here I did my temporary stitch. I have this weird flap going right here, and this is actually going to be a center dart that I'm going to have going straight down the front, and I think this is actually going to be really flattering because since this is such a reflective material, having that reflection tie into the center might give more of an hourglass silhouette. And then I also have that going on down the back. The only thing that I left out was this bra, and I'm kind of realizing that since I want to wear an actual bra underneath this dress, I am gonna have to take this piece here and make it a little bit more three-dimensional. So what I'm gonna do is probably add either a dart here on the side, or I can do 2 darts here like in the middle. And then once I get that figured out, I'll go ahead and get the strap situation sorted. Hopefully you can see it, but I went ahead and finished stitching down my darts in the front and the back. I also stitched down these side pieces, so now they're going to be fitting a little bit better on the sides. My next step is going to be taking this off my dress form and trimming all these excess side pieces off. We'll go ahead and get this section added as well. Bodice off the dress form, and I also went ahead and trimmed all the excess fabric that was going on. I briefly tried it on. It looked a little funny because this is just an empty rectangle, so you know, you can imagine. The darts look a little funky for now, but I think once it's completely put together, the vision will come together. I went ahead and added 2 darts here. Probably gonna do a temporary stitch, maybe just go straight for a hand stitch like I did with the darts and the side pieces here. Okay, you guys, I have disappeared for a few days with this project. In the video, you're not gonna be able to tell, but I took nearly a week off from this project because I hit a bit of a crossroad. So this was the original bodice that I was working on. I got nearly complete with it to the point where I just needed to put straps and add my skirt and it was done. But I tried it on and there was just some things that weren't fitting exactly how I envisioned. And rather than settling and sort of just working with what I did, I wanted to revise it. So I did that, but let me get into a little bit of why I wasn't too happy with this. So this particular piece right here fit very well. I was really happy with the darts that I created. They were perfectly symmetrical. They added great dimension. This part was fine. The part that I didn't like was just how wide I had left these side pieces or these side panels. Coming down to the center dart, in my head, it sounded really nice, but when I put it on, this dart is actually really stiff and it doesn't move the fabric the way I wanted it to or thought it would move. So when I took it off my dress form, I snagged the fabric in quite a few places. So like here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Also, this overall piece was just a little bit too short. I wanted it to hit a little bit lower. Rather than being partially satisfied and okay with the fitment, I wanted to be absolutely happy with it. So I went ahead and took this fit because this fits well, and I traced a new pattern. So I ended up drafting a pattern just by tracing this, turning it inside out and tracing it, adding some seam allowance to it, adding some length to it, and then I went ahead, cut and assembled all my layers together, and now you can see the first thing you'll notice is this wider section here and thinner sections here on the side, and then I added some length to it, or side-by-side comparison you can see here. Just how much longer it is. Has smooth front panels, smooth back panels, so now there will not be any stiff darts in the center. But yeah, so my next task is to add this piece, which is my bust, and you can see here all my chalk marks for where I added darts, and this being the center. Yeah, this is gonna be the front. I'm gonna hand stitch this portion here. Long-winded explanation, but wanted to get you guys up to speed and also tell you a little bit about how sometimes our mistakes lead her down a better path. Oh my goodness. I went ahead, since I last spoke to you guys, I went ahead and hand stitched this entire bust piece into my top. Did a quick try on, and I have to say, maybe I'm tooting my horn a little too early, knock on wood, nothing else goes wrong. It looks so good. Way better than I could have ever imagined. Also super stretchy, so no problems putting it on. I don't need a zipper. I don't need any buttons or closures. It slips right up. I'm working on my straps. I was originally going to take out my ruler, measure out this whole perfect square, rectangle, whatever. I'm feeling really confident that I can accomplish the strap without too much complication. I'm just going to use the grid on my self-healing mat. I am working a little late tonight, but I managed to get this strap fully stitched on. If you look over here, you can still see my temporary yellow stitch. This is actually the last one I have to attach, and then it's pretty much done with the top. I've attached the straps initially. I did a quick try on. I'll include a clip right there. For the most part, it's fitting pretty well. I did make my straps a little too long, and I do need to adjust the positioning on them. The back portion, I'm gonna move over just slightly to maybe right over here, so that way this can stay on the outer portion how I like it. But I do need to add a little bit more lift to the fabric, so like I said, I'm just gonna shorten this back here a little bit. I'll probably have to move this scrunch a bit too and undo that that. This is gonna be a little bit of a pain in the because I thought I did it perfectly. Obviously not. So now I have a little bit of an angle on these straps. I'm just gonna try on the new and improved top. I'm just gonna briefly walk you guys through what I've created so far. It's just the top portion. The straps worked out perfectly. I'm super happy with the way that this silhouette is fitting, and it's really easy to just kind of slip on. I don't need a zipper or anything like that, which is what I was most concerned about when I was putting this on. Yeah, she's cute. She's looking dainty. Hopefully you can see the reflective qualities of this fabric. I am still debating whether or not I want to add a little bit of ruching right here. Now let's go make the skirt. It has been a while since I've touched this project. Full transparency, I did take several weeks away from this. Dare I say even 2 months. So my next step right now is to get this skirt attached to this top. I've already closed my panels on this to make it a little bit more opaque. That way you're not seeing anything underneath. I really want to add a slit to it. I've never done a slit before, so I'll take a measurement of how far down I need the closure to be before it's a nice open slit. I'm really thinking a high thigh sexy slit. I can see the end coming close. I just need to really just focus on it. I don't intend for my washer and dryer to be on every time I record. That just happens to be how life goes. But my dress is finally done. Look at her. She's so cute. She's so pretty. So I was able to close this seam up here. Now we have the bodice, the skirt. There's a little slit here. I'm gonna go try her on for you guys, but I'm gonna do a quick get ready with me so you guys can get a little more in depth as to how I would wear it. So now that we've made the dress, let's go ahead and get ready to wear it. To be totally honest with you, I have absolutely no reason to wear this dress and absolutely no reason to get ready. So this is just for fun, you know, we're playing around, we're having fun. It kind of reminds me of being a teenager and doing my makeup in my room all over again just to take photos on photo booth and post it to my Facebook. That's literally what this is, and I feel like life comes full circle. Before we get into it, I do want to say I am not a beauty or hair expert. Yes, I have my hair in a roller. Right now it's probably not the best way to do it. And I do want to add a little bit of wave into my hair, so I just threw it in a bun. As far as the hair goes, I'm just going to brush it out whenever I'm done. And so I did wash my face. I put my moisturizer and my base on. I skipped that process because I felt like that was just really boring. This is the foundation I use. I can't really testify to whether or not it's the best thing in the world, but it's what I use. It works for me, and it's the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Performance Wear Liquid Foundation in the shade Golden Nude. I don't even know if this was my perfect shade. To be honest with you, it looks good on camera. I think it looks good in person, but for all I know, I could be walking around completely in the wrong shade. I like to start off small. I don't want to use too much all at once. So I'm just going to use a little bit on my brush and then just like dab it in some of my areas that I need. I don't really like to cake it on. I have super sensitive skin, so for me the less is more in terms of skin health. I feel like this is gonna be something maybe a couple girls critique me on, but I don't use concealer. I just use foundation under my eyes. Okay, so now that I put my liquid foundation on, I'm gonna go ahead and set that with the translucent loose setting powder from Laura Mercier. Yeah, so we're just gonna use a little bit of that. I just spilled so much everywhere. And then I'm gonna go ahead. I just spilled way more. Oh my. I really love this powder. And you know what? I've been using this powder, this exact same powder, since I was in high school, which was a really long time ago. And maybe there's better ones out there. And maybe I'll try them one day. Very much of if it's not broken, don't fix it. And I feel like this powder has never let me down. Now I'm gonna get into blush. I actually just got this one. It's the YSL powder blush in the shade 93. I don't really buy makeup all that often unless it's to replace things like my mascara, powders, that kind of thing. I don't really experiment. So for me to get this was like a really big like, whoa. I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of that color. My fan brush. This is the Morphe 310 brush. Best blush brush I've ever had. Wow, say that 10 times. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like I am pretty guilty of buying this blush simply because I love the packaging. I didn't know what the shade looked like in person or anything like that. I ordered it online and I was really excited about it when I got it because the shade was perfect. It's exactly what I was going for. I was actually replacing my NARS Orgasm blush with this one, and it's a great, great color. Now I'm gonna do a little bit of bronzer. I don't commonly use it. Like it just feels like an extra step sometimes, but today I do feel like kind of accentuating my jawline just slightly. So I'm going to use it just along here. And this is the Stila Stay All Day Contouring Bronzer for Face and Body in the shade Dark. And just put a little bit. I do have Technic, or at least I think I do. So I just want to like hide that double chin sometimes. Now let's get into eyebrows. I don't really do too much. I just use an eyeshadow color that's very similar to my eyebrows, and I just fill in the tail ends. The first thing I do is use a little spoolie like this and just kind of brush them up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and fill them in. Tap, tap, and then fill in. That's it. Normally I would just throw mascara on and be done with the look. That's for my like day-to-day stuff. But today for this dress, I do want to add a little bit of eyeliner. And I did get this eyeliner recently too. This is the Prada Durable Gliding Eye Pencil in the shade 01 Nero. I've never used her before. This is my first time. I'm gonna do a little waterline, a little tight line. And before I filmed, I wanted to make sure that I could still do this without like absolutely tearing up. So I did this eye, and all I did was waterline the bottom and then tight line just the outer like third of this eye. Cute, right? I'm not brave enough to do a wing yet, so we're just gonna keep it like this. And I think this looks very cute. And yeah, so far I actually really like the formula of this pencil. It didn't really take a lot for me to build up the color. I did decide to bring the eyeliner through my inner corner and just kind of connect the lines. Let's get into mascara. This is also a new product for me that I'm trying. It's the Givenchy mascara. I don't know the fancy name that it has for it, but this is a Givenchy mascara in the shade Black. Yeah, it's new. I love her. I've been using her for quite a while now. I want to say like a couple weeks. Love the formula, love the wand, love the applicator. I definitely will be rebuying this. And I actually replaced my Benefit They're Real mascara. I have been using that mascara since I was like 15. I just wanted to try something different. I feel like the formula had changed with Benefit. It was making my eyes water for some reason on my latest tube of it. So I called it quits with it, tried something new. Definitely will be sticking this one for a little while at least. Okay, so I did this eye already and you can kind of tell the difference, right? I like to blink my mascara on. I feel like it leaves less room for any kind of clumping. Cute. Then I'm gonna do a sparse amount on my bottom lash. I did add a little too much to the bottom, so we're gonna clean that up. As far as lips go, I definitely need to find like a go-to lip liner and lipstick combo. I haven't found it yet. I'm more of a gloss girl. For today's look, I'm going to be using the Laneige Lip Glowy Balm as my base. Just a cute little pinky color. And then on top, I added my Louboutin lip gloss in the shade Dora Candy. I am so sad about this product. I cannot find it anywhere anymore. I'm running very low on it, so I have to like scrape the edges when I'm using it and like sparingly use it. But it is super glittery. It's so pretty. Love her down. I'm very sad that they don't make this anymore. I'll try to find a dupe for it, and if I do, I'll let you know. But how cute is this packaging? Who? When I tell you guys I'm a sucker for packaging, I like to the bottom of my core, I am. But yeah, we're done with the makeup look. Let's get into the hair. The hair was a mission. I took her out of the roll and I just took it out of the bun, and then I used a wide tooth comb to sort of brush it out. My hair doesn't like to hold volume or curl basically at all. This is all I got. I don't like to use hairspray. Listen, I complain about these things that my hair, my makeup doesn't do, but I really don't do anything to fix it. Shout out to Ashley who cuts my hair. You know what you're doing, girl. She's given me these like curtain bangs that I just adore, but I don't do justice in the way that I style them. When she cuts my hair and I go home that day, it's just like the best day of my life because my bangs look so freaking good. And one day I'll learn how to style them as well as she does. But yeah, this is the look. Let's get into the dress. I'm living for this dress right now. This is by far my favorite project so far. I'm gonna say that about every dress, but that's okay, because that's the goal, right? Anyways, I have paired this with my beautiful bonbon bag. The gold hardware, the gold details match perfectly. I went with my gold wedges. Stunning. Love her. I made, and look, the slit moment. Ah, little 360 moment. I need to go somewhere in this. Like, I actually need to go somewhere in it. But I'm so proud of it. The length is a little bit too long, but I feel like I need that because I love to wear heels. And if I wear one that's a little bit higher, I'm going to want that extra length. So I'm not mad about it. I actually don't think I need too much higher of a heel than these. I might just need a little bit of a platform on the next pair. I love her. I'm so excited. Just one more little 360 moment for her. Can we hear it for the dress? I
actually can't believe that I finally finished this project. For perspective, I started this project in September of 2025 and it is now April of 2026. And I think that just goes to show how many times I picked up and put this project to the side. There were so many times where I really thought I was going to put this project down and never touch it again. However, I am very happy that I stuck to it, finished it, even though there were times where I got discouraged. There are a lot of great things that I love about it, and we'll get into those in a second. But I just want to say, there's going to be so many times in your life where you're going to get demotivated on something that you've been working on for a while. Stick to it, push through, because in the end, the best thing you can get out of it is what you learned, not necessarily the finished product. Although I am happy with it, I'm really happy that I took the time to actually go through it and learn more versus just put it to the side, never look at it again, and not learn anything out of it. So let's get into what I did like about this project. I absolutely adored the fabric choice for this silhouette. The shine that this fabric has looks so beautiful on the body, especially when you're wearing it and moving around. The simple slip-on design is also something that I really love. I absolutely detest adding zippers to projects, so a little shimmy into the dress is perfect for me. The higher leg slit is also stunning, and even though it was my first time making a slit, I think it came out wonderfully, and I'm just really happy with how elegant it looks overall. It wasn't something that I made too short, too revealing, and it still spoke to me and what I love, which is just feeling really good, very sexy in my clothes. So I think I did a great job with it. I don't know, let me know your opinion and I'll take it for what it is. Now let's talk about what I didn't really like about this project. I definitely wasn't as efficient as I could have been. I just got into my own head about the design so many times, and that ultimately hindered my motivation to get the project done. And I think something I should remind myself of is that pivots aren't bad. Pivots are growth, pivots are opportunity, and I think that perspective change is really gonna make the difference for my next project. The next thing I don't like about this project is something that you as a viewer can't see, but I as a wearer feel. I did make a slight mistake when I was attaching my skirt to my bodice, and it resulted in me having a rough seam along my waistline. Oh, hello. It's not the end of the world, but this is something I definitely want to polish and work on in terms of my skill set. Touching back on my efficiency, I started to create booklets for my project. I say that as if I've done it like several times. This is my first booklet, but my goal is to continue making these booklets, and all it is inside is a to-do list, a sketch of the design, and even like things I could do with the leftover fabrics that I have. And I feel like this, when I started to lock in on making this, it made me more efficient and it made me more motivated. And rather than having all the things that I needed to do just scrambled in my head, I had them down somewhere. And yes, I could do this on my iPad. I don't know. I love to pencil and paper, okay? And it just, like, I even wrote when I started, when I completed it, what I liked and what I didn't like. My best piece of advice is just get organized. It makes things feel less overwhelming, makes things feel more efficient. So that was this project. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.